Hello, all. Welcome to Mini Pod. My name is Ada Okechukwu, and I'm here with our wonderful guest, Kayin Bankole. Kayin Bankole is a previous educator, still an educator, and he currently works as a Brownfields project officer for the United States Environmental Protection Agency. So, thank you so much, Kayin, for joining us for Mini Pod episode 1. So, give us a quick debrief. And we'll go into some questions, all right?
A little bit about myself and my background with education.
Yes.
Okay, so where do I begin? I think I my history with education goes back to my mother and father. They like both owned a daycare center back in South Philadelphia, excuse me. That I was essentially raised in. So I've always been around um, community focused education,
Mm.
specifically through my mother and father. Fast forward when I had the opportunity to actually do it myself,
Mm.
I was essentially like I don't want to say a camp counselor, but I worked for um, or had a 2 year summer fellowship with John Hines National Wildlife Refuge, which is a part of the Department of Interior. And I was their Delaware River Watershed Fellow. And my job essentially was to educate the surrounding community, specifically folks, kids, moms, dads, uncles, aunts, brothers, sisters, cousins, people who look like me,
Yes.
um, about the Delaware River watershed, included other sorts of environmental education, excuse me, specifically stewardship.
Mm.
How how do we become more immersed in our own local environment? How do we connect back to back to nature?
And why I wanted you to come on to the mini pod today
Mhm.
is you have a diverse experience in academia. And it's really, really important to not only see Black educators, but to see Black male educators, because a
Mhm.
lot of times you see that there's a deficit in that area, and to connect that with the environment, which is something that impacts the Black community, is even more meaningful. So we thank you. Lanson Billings, all right.
Mhm.
And it emphasizes the importance of culturally relevant pedagogy and engaging students. How have you integrated like practices while ensuring your own mental and emotional well-being? Like while you were working for the Department of Interior, while you were doing things like in a brownfields, because you're educating people every day as well in your role, how do you stay culturally relevant? Like what verbiage or actions do you feel like you utilize in those spaces?
I stay culturally relevant in any space that I am in,
Yes.
because I am me and I don't subscribe to this modern notion of code switching that I have to change up myself, my lexicon, my diction, my mannerisms, depending on any space that I'm in. Doesn't mean if we're um, telling certain groups of children that who they are inherently is bad. That
Mm,
that's that they can't be themselves
mm,
around certain groups, uh, a around or in um certain environments. So thing is, just like being myself, like, I'm gonna always be me. I'm never going to change. This is me. So that's
yeah.
like, why I'm so successful.
To my next question, Kayin Bankole, another reading in
Yes.
class
Yes, ma'am.
was where we're focusing on the burned-in mindset by Poole, suggests that educators must adapt, reflect, and sustain passion despite challenges. How do you stay committed to this mindset, even in your field now, which is quite similar to education, different, but you're still educating people in the space and you've educated people in the past. How do you think, like, do you think we have to adapt? Do you think we have to assimilate to challenges? Like, what is your perception to that?
I mean, we always adapt. Life is about adapting. The way I like tend to see it is in life, and this like may sound crass. It's like may sound a little over exaggerated, but you either adapt or die.
Yeah.
Um in this world, life is about change, and like though you cannot predict
Mm.
the change, what you can control is how you react.
Final question. Okay. This is
Mm-hmm.
the first episode of Mini Pod. And we're
Of
here.
course, and y'all already
We're
getting
going
all
to
this
you. Oh,
information.
info. Right. Right. So I would say, what strategies do you use to create a safe environment? So I kind of emphasize this into a classroom environment. I've worked in classrooms in the past, currently
Mm-hmm.
don't now. But I would say like when you were in your educational environments, like how did you make that a safe space for the littles, for the youngins, for the young bulls that you were
Yeah, yeah.
teaching? Like, how did you make that a safe classroom? Like classroom could be any space, right? So classroom could be outside of a school building, all right? So how
Mhm.
did you make that a safe environment for your littles, for your young bulls?
I made my classroom, my environment, a safe space for my young boys by allowing them to actually feel comfortable and to speak and to ask any question that they wanted without fear of one, rejection, or two, feeling dumb.
Yes.
I believe nowadays people are, I don't think they're scared to speak because there's a lot of speaking going on. There's a lot of podcasts go, going on. So I can't say folks aren't afraid to like speak, but I will say people don't feel, I guess, safe to like say whatever they want, overall. Now, I'm not saying that you should be able to wow it out and just, say outlandish stuff. But I do believe in being able to speak your mind.
Your point of views, Kayin. We're gonna wrap up today's episode of Mini Pod. And I just want to thank you for being here not only as an educator, a black man, but a black male
My
educator.
sister.
Because you're needed,
Um,
you know? We're needed in these
we're
spaces.
we're
Spaces,
needed, and that's the
we're
point right there.
needed.
We're needed
Yes, we're
because this
needed
is not
in
just
these spaces.
sorry because
No,
this
of course.
because this is a full 360 pronged approach. We all have a part. It is our job to like do these things. So I don't take credit because I am standing on the shoulders of folks who came before me.